Good afternoon, everyone. It is 13:30, and I think we can start this workshop today. My name is Sloboda Bijelic. I'm a Senior Sales Account Manager at 360T. I'm your host today for the workshop with Zalando and SAP, focusing on end-to-end workflow automation using 360T Execution Management System and SAP's S4 Hana. Thank you very much for joining us today. I do know that you have a choice as to which workshop you sign up for, and I am very grateful to have you here today with us. I am also thrilled to have our two speakers with us as well. Dominika Kilka-Roth, the team lead at Treasury Market Risk and Liquidity at Zalando, as well as Dr. Arif Eza, the Director Treasury Management at SAP. The content of today's workshop was tailored in such a way that it is approachable and informative to both existing 360T clients as well as those who do not know us yet. So we will start off with a brief 360T and EMS overview. After that, Arif will tell us a little bit about the partnership between 360T and SAP, in particular S4 Hana. And we saved the best for last, of course, with Dominika showing us a real-world example of this partnership between 360T and SAP bearing fruit for Zalando's workflow automation. We have a little bit of time left at the end for questions. Feel free to write yours in the chat box. We do have a limited amount of time today as well, so please feel free to reach out to me after the session or book a meeting separately if you're interested in EMS. So what is 360T all about? We are a multi-bank platform for FX and short-term money market trading, serving a wide customer base with a leading position in the German corporate space. We have over 200 liquidity providers on the platform, more than 2,200 buy-side clients in over 75 countries, and a growing global footprint. We see an average of 30 billion tickets of 80 billion euro traded daily on our platform, with the daily maximum being 135 billion on a day in March last year. What really sets us apart is our unmatched investment in our technology and continuous development of new products and enhancement of features with 3 releases per year. And the prime example of such development is our move from the old legacy systems developed 20 years ago to what our FX execution modules look like today. And some of you who are existing clients will be very well in tune with the basic module being Bridge and the second one being EMS. What that means is that there are 2 main FX execution modules that are used by corporates depending on whether they want a more manual or a more automated approach in FX trading, and whether, of course, there is a budget for automation and a specific need in the workflow process, including but not limited to in-house bank kind of subsidiary trading. Bridge is our standard module for manual trading, to which you can then add interfaces, either a pre-trade interface for an order upload or a post-trade interface for export into a treasury management system to automate at least that part of the process. Then there's, of course, the ability to use Bridge, which is a very widespread case for corporates with a lot of subsidiaries, as an in-house bank model, to which you can book then the auto deal or add the auto dealing suit option, where rules are managed for back-to-back trading with the internal subsidiaries. And then we have the execution management system, or EMS, being the more advanced trading module with enhanced features and functionalities that are not available on Bridge, but which can also be used either in a more simple, light setup or in a more complex kind of setup. So we start with this basic EMS, which has a pay-per feature module. You have the basic being 4 or 6 or even more I principle for an advanced kind of compliance model with a differentiated role and approval access, view access as well, it being kind of the central place for all orders where you can create, upload, accept, reject, select, amend, aggregate tickets, split bigger tickets, And to that, you can add in additional features such as auto execution or email notification. This kind of EMS Lite setup is exactly what Zalando has and will be showing us today. And then the last step in the advanced workflows is a full EMS setup, which includes our most comprehensive offering. It is fully customizable and gives room to play. The standout, there are many features which I cannot go into full detail given the amount of time that we have, but a standout feature that I'd like to mention would be the netting ability, which means that you can do either tenor netting for the same currency pair, or you can do cross-currency risk netting, which is the ability to net for a currency pair across different tenors. In addition to that, the full EMS includes, of course, the auto execution, which can be set up according to your needs at in a very flexible and granular way, as well as the option to add internal subsidiaries and internal trading, email notifications, and a full compliance module with a detailed audit trail. The only part of the functionalities or features that you can have in EMS that are not available in the full EMS but are optional to book in addition to it would be our market data offering, which can be used as an independent data source to benchmark the prices you are receiving from your banks and to set tolerance threshold levels for auto executions, where you say, for example, if the price I'm receiving, even if it's the best of 3, is a certain tolerance threshold away from what the feed is showing me as the mid-market, then I am not auto-executing this ticket. More on that you can hear in our second workshop today with my colleague Christian Pfannkuchen, who is showing a more complex full EMS setup together with Siemens Energy, where there is this sort of internal or in-house bank trading with the subsidiaries, full EMS, as well as market data used. If you are not joining that workshop, then feel free to look at it in the library later. And what is the end-to-end workflow automation like, and what does it actually mean? So that is, of course, also fully customizable, as one size does not fit all, and it looks different for each client. Generally, what it means is that there is an automatic upload or pre-trade interface into the 360T EMS, sending the trade intentions as orders into 360T EMS. The client then sets rules for auto approval and auto execution of these kinds of trade intentions, which means that in the next step they are very likely automatically traded. And finally, after trading, they are automatically exported into the treasury management system. The automatic trading is always at best price. There is a minimum standard of 3 banks that would have to send a price before automatic execution, but there is also something that you can customize for yourself in case you want more than 3 or less than 3 prices before automatic execution. Of course, this ability to set up granular rules means that it is your choice as to which tickets get automatically approved and traded. It is very much case-by-case basis. You can choose to use it in a way where everything flows through automatically, such as what Zalando has, or you can choose to say that for some tickets you would like to have a look at them first. Anything that is under a certain threshold can get automatically approved to automate smaller tickets, or anything above a certain threshold can be auto traded only after I have approved it and looked at it. But for certain tickets, I always want to look at them and trade them myself. It is full flexibility means that you have the option to set up exactly the kind of workflow you need. While SAP is one of our major partners, in particular with S/4HANA, we are flexible enough to work with any vendor. It is a matter of looking into each particular situation to ensure connectivity. We have worked with Quantum, for example, in the past for a pre-trade interface into EMS, and have recently established a partnership with Kentox as well. All in all, it means that you can achieve considerable time saving using EMS automatic execution and the automated processes, and you can reduce operational or kind of fat finger errors by automating smaller tickets or ensuring that there is a pop-up and email notification or the ability to approve and amend bigger tickets. and the granular rules are to be set up per currency pair and per product. This means that it is kind of like a gate. The EMS is a gatekeeper concept for auto execution, where it handles the execution roles and supports automated execution. But the really important part is that what we're trying to do with it is not kind of replace the human component of it, just move it away from the manual work to the more qualitative work. And the human input is needed for risk management, hedging strategy, auto execution rules. You can switch this auto execution off at any time with a disable button in EMS when there is turbulence in the market, or you would like to adjust the rules. You can switch it off at any time and switch it back on when needed. You're thinking probably that all sounds great, but what does it actually look like? So let's have a look at an example of EMS and a couple of trades. So this is what the GUI of EMS is like when you log in. A little bit different from Bridge, you have different views. And what I said at the beginning with the views being, the access being customizable, it means that you may wish to give the viewing rights to different employees for different areas, where some can add the tickets, approve them, trade them, and see what has been traded, and others can only see the done deals in the trade blotters, or have only the ability to enter a ticket but not to approve or trade it. The tickets that are automatically uploaded from a pre-trade interface would appear under initialized, and the next step after that is placement, where the tickets can be worked on before sending them into the market for either auto execution or manual trading. In terms of manual trading, that works very similar to Bridge. It would just show up under the RFS dashboard, and then the trade blotter shows the trades that are done. Under the administrator configuration, you set up your rules, which can be as many as you want and as detailed as you want. The rules follow a waterfall kind of system, where the auto execution always checks first for the first rule, and then the second and the next. So the first one that is being looked at is the one above, and when that is applied, then the system moves on to check the next rule. So what I have here as an example is I've set up that any ticket of FX spot under 100,000 can be automatically executed. And I have another one saying that anything under 15 million, in particular euro-dollar currency pair, can be automatically approved, but not yet auto-executed, which means that I will send it into the placement area, but I may want to split these kinds of bigger tickets, or look at them once more and trade them manually before I send them into the market. I have another rule saying that, again, for FX spot under 10 million, I can auto execute it after it has been approved. So just to show you kind of what that looks like, let's go for that small ticket of 100,000. When here is you have the ability to trade against the internal company. That's the kind of setup you have. That is not what Zalando has, so I'm just going for a main entity kind of trade. I've created the ticket and it is automatically in the market. This kind of highlighted yellow with the red square shows me that this order is under auto execution in the market right now. It is looking for the minimum 3 best prices before it gets traded. It has now been traded, and I see it under my trade blotter as executed with which client, with which bank, and under the order ID, I have a detailed audit trail that shows not only when the ticket was created and by whom, but also which kind of rule was approved, which kind of rule was used for it to be auto-approved and automatically executed. If I add a couple of more tickets, just to show you what that looks like. So here, this was above my auto approval and auto execution rule, which I've set for 10 and 15 million. So it means that this ticket needs to first be manually approved by me before it can go further. I have the option to reject it, amend it, approve it. Once I have approved it, it's also above the minimum level I've set in euro-dollar spot for auto execution. So I have to manually send it into the market. But here I have the option to split the ticket if I want, it being a bigger one. If there were additional tickets here, I'd be able to merge them. I can split it, or I can say I'm fine with it. I don't need to look at the price. I can just let it be auto executed. These are the kind of, just like a quick overview of the rules that are possible and applicable. There's a lot more that can be done, but this is just to give you a quick overview. So who is EMS for? It is suitable for really all clients that have a desire to further optimize their FX workflow or are interested in auto execution. It was made and intended in the beginning for kind of asset managers or larger corporates with hundreds of subsidiaries, but that is absolutely not the only use case, as we can see with Zalando today. It is really for anyone interested in auto execution, in automated workflows, in netting or having a netting day, in anyone who has a need for 6i principle for approvals or differentiated roles in terms of compliance when it comes to FX trading. Of course, anyone with a lot of entities, subsidiaries that they either trade on behalf of or that they trade back-to-back in the market for as an in-house bank, it being a kind of a central order system with an easy overview for everyone. It is really for whether it's a smaller client, a bigger client with one entity, or with hundreds of subsidiaries. There is something for everyone in the execution management system. And how that really works with S4 Hana or other SAP modules as well, I will give over to Arif now to give you an overview of that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for the great insight, and again, thank you for invitation, and thank for Dominika as well to have us here to tell the story how a partner, a client, and SAP could indeed engage in a solution where we see the big benefit for our client at the end of the day, where the same client for 360, everything what we saw before, it's the good news, this is reflected automatically in the system. And then when Zalando approached us, and we knowing they have a transformation from a former system to S4HANA, we position that's the solution why we should not go for a streamlined solution if it's come to global trading. And that's why I'm happy to be here to shed some light. What is the partnership? What is behind, and how fits to the one side to our archiving strategy to have the build up a kind of platform where we can extend the ecosystem. On the other side, how we can serve the partner and the client at the same time to have one solution, one-stop shop solution, which help them to streamline the processes. We will see it later on at Zalando. Let me move to the next slide. Just highlighted when we approach 360T, where we're looking for a partner who could first go to the journey with SAP. The journey of SAP was clear. Cloud mean we will leverage the SAP Business Technology Platform in order to extend the digital core where the core process of treasury are reside. And then along the cycle, we would love to have a solution, an end-to-end solution, automated solution with partner where they can help us to have on one side a solution without a middleware like we know it in the past, like PI, PO. We know these things has been happened in the past, and we know that many customers, they implemented that. But during the crisis, one thing which we have to keep in mind is cloud. If you have a cloud cloud service, cloud solution, then there's no need to send someone somewhere. And then that's the big benefit if you have a digital transformation and a digital journey. That's things which we position here is the right direction. So we do it not only for the trading platform integration, we do it for corporate to bank, we do it for market data. As mentioned before, beside the trading, there is some market data which you can streamline. We can fetch from 360T to be reflected in the treasury as well. So that's the rationale behind the partnership. We decided to go for 360T because the majority of our clients who are running our treasury solution are running in the 360T. We have some global client. I'm happy to just say the Google one example where they decided now to, beside the FX, all decided to have 360T. From beginning on, we have Zalando to be on the driver's seat here to have such integrated solution, and I'm happy to shed some light here as well. What does it mean for Zalando? What does it mean for SAP? First of all, those trading platform integration as an end-to-end, as a friction-free integration to the partner will help us and help the client to position a solution which in one side got the single source of truth of all my exposure. The other side have the possibility to have a smart rating. What does it mean, smart rating? I do execute an order from SAP S/4HANA as example. This order got executed automatically as we showed before, because I set the rule in the 360T, those deals should be executed automatically. And once we have the deal executed, the back-to-back replication to SAP S/4HANA will be given, because we do have a designation between the instrument and the exposure. So that is beside the things what we do it around the ecosystem, the end-to-end integration of those flows, of those trade flows into the SAP S/4HANA, as well as SAP ECC. So the focus, of course, S/4HANA, because that's the next generation of ERP, but this solution can fit, of course, to the existing ECC client as well. When we were talking with Zalando, and then of course we were talking about things which are connected to each other. So beside the market data which is needed and can be fetched from 360T and can be fetched from another data provider, we decided to have a seamless integration between trading platform integration into the hedge bit, into the forecasted exposure, into the analytics. I mean, within analytics, you have the view of your trading activity in one side, and you have the view of your exposure on the other side. And of course, you will be in the position to be compliant according whatever US GAAP, IFRS 9, or even if a local GAAP like the German Handels law. I mean, end-to-end solution, it's the things what we believe, it's the things what a client expected in the crisis. They need a cloud solution where there is no need to send someone. They need the visibility and they need the automation. So in the digital economy, and knowing Zalando as e-commerce, there is nothing else than I should have a solution which gives me the flexibility, the agility to react quickly, even though if the crisis is over, but it's the new normal. The new normal will be, we have to do business different than we did before. And even if the vaccine is increasing, we'll see that automation, digitalization, and a cloud solution will be the leading edge for the next couple of years. That's my assumption. That's my discussion with the client. With that, I hand over to you, and we're happy to see how Zalando implemented that in one side 360, and they adhere to the strategy of SAP if it's come to S/4HANA. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will prepare the presentation for Dominika. And the stage is yours, Dominika.
Perfect. Thank you for having me today here. So my name is Dominika, and let me start with an overall introduction of Zalando. Wait, let me check if I can move the slides. Yeah, perfect. So the first steps of Zalando took place in 2008. What started as a simple online store is today's Europe's leading platform for fashion, whereby the timing by then actually could not have been worse. Zalando started at the same time as the US investment bank had to file for insolvency, and we faced a global financial crisis. Initially, there was only a small team around the founders, Robert Gans and David Schneider, in which everyone took on every task, and even the parcels were taken to the post office by hand. With the promise of free delivery and a 100-day return policy, the company attracted customers' interest and grew quickly, even much faster than the founders thought. Each time the company moved into new offices, they were soon overcrowded and new premises had to be found. Not only the office space expanded, but also the assortment. In 2008, the focus was still on shoes, but it soon was realized that the future also belonged to the sale of clothing and sporting goods, etc. The company also wanted to expand geographically. So in 2011-2012, it expanded into 15 markets at the same time. In 2014, we saw the first listing of the shares on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, the most successful IPO in the past 5 years. Only 6 months after this IPO, the platform strategy was launched, which is to be actually the basis for our future growth. The established platform strategy is not only supporting our partner program, but also facing the struggle that we saw last year of retailers during the pandemic. More than 2,400 stores were connected to the Zalando platform by end of 2020 through the Connected Retail program. And the program continues to grow within this year, with having additionally 3,400 stores connected by the end of February this year. Our consistent strategy implementation is also paying off financially. So, launched in 2009 with sales of 6 million, Zalando is Europe's largest online fashion retailer, with an extraordinary year in 2020, achieving a group revenue of 8 billion euros and a GMV growth of over 25% to 10.7 billion euros in 2020. We are a truly European company, as you can see. We are in 17 European countries with 13 languages, and we have, it's somehow stuck, I'm super sorry. No. So we have very localized range of brands as well as over 20 payment methods. Our goal is to connect people and fashion. To enable this, we are driving our platform strategy, which allows all participants to create value for the customer through our platform. We have a world-class logistic network as well as IT team. Not only our logistic team has a great enablement through our tech department, but also finance. Therefore, we started in 2019 our beautiful project with SAP with the implementation on S/4HANA. So in January 2019, we started this project, including the work streams, accounting, retail, tax, controlling, analytics, and treasury. The project was organized in an agile approach, and with a timeline of only 18 months until go live, it was very ambitious. Also looking into that in March 2020, we all needed to work from home. This actually put a lot of uncertainty, and we were not sure if we could make the timeline, but with a great team spirit, a high motivation, and going the extra mile for success, we went live on the 30th of June 2020. In our initial release or our initial go live, we have implemented the following treasury processes that you can see on this slide, including processes as the cash flow analyzer, cash concentration, as well as building interfaces to external sources, such as connecting external market data that is provided, or external trading platform for trading money market funds, and of course, our great solution for our FX hedging with EMS and the TPI cloud solution. So when we look on how our process, our FX hedging process was designed before, we received exposure data from our business units via finance controlling and created the raw exposure in SAP via an Excel upload. After this exposure was checked, it got released from SAP into 360T. In 360T, we have had two controls, one person approving the trade and another person actually manually trading this trade. So basically, in this overall trading process, by that time, we had a 6I principle in place. After these deals actually got traded, it got imported back into SAP and got evaluated with external market data for accounting processes. These processes were done by that time also manually and sometimes also outside of SAP and then manually posted in SAP. This process at some point made make sense, but actually when the teams were still smaller and we had different people taking over different roles, by growing, it got very time consuming, and the amount of people needed to execute this process was just hard to maintain. When you consider that people are going on vacation or are on sick leave, or are in some meetings and cannot trade until cutoff time, etc. So, and of course, we face some pain points in having the accounting part being done manually. So, how did we design and restructure the hedging process? What are the advantages that we gained by implementing it? So, basically, the process now can be split in 4 parts. The first part is the exposure management. Here we use the SAP S/4HANA hedging area with predefined hedging percentages per month. After the hedging area is set up, we can easily upload the exposure, and hopefully, once we are done with our beautiful liquidity planning project, we will have this planning data already in SAP and can eliminate also this Excel upload. But so after this upload is done, we receive based on it the to be hedged trading volumes per month as a proposal. The second step is our end-to-end trading process. By approving the automated created hedge requests, they are uploaded from SAP to the TPI cloud solution and sent to EMS 360T for automated trading. We kept here actually a 4I principle. So one person is monitoring the hedge requests and a second person is releasing the trade intentions into EMS 360T. The settings in EMS for automated trading can be defined individually by instrument, amounts, maturities, and timing. In the beginning, we needed to figure out what was the most efficient parameters for us and also for our banking partners in terms of risks and pricing, giving banks also sufficient time for pricing and covering their own risk in the back after they have traded with us, and not taking away the opportunity from them to follow up on the next upcoming trades that are sent to them. Because so we received some feedback and we had some alignment talks and needed to have some alignment talks with 360T, SAP, and also our banking partners to really find the best solution here for us. But now it's set and we all are happy with this. Furthermore, what we have implemented is an email trading platform integration notification service, which sends a report of the successful execution report, or in case it happens and a failure message that something did not work. So our team can check based on this report with 360T or the tech team what was the cause of the failure. After successful execution, the trades are automatically imported back into SAP for settlement. An automated confirmation process via MT300 is triggered to be sent to the banks and is matched with the banks. The last step is the initialization of trade repository reporting when FX deals are required to be sent to registry R. So-called tarot messages are sent out from SAP automatically. After this is done, the needed accounting postings are created automatically and posted with predefined hedge accounting rules in the systems. So at the end, for the month-end closing process, actually accounting just needs to follow up if all the trades happen. So we have a report to check basically if all the processes have been done through batches and everything was posted. So as Zalando growth continues and our FX exposure also expands, we have automated the process as much as possible to reduce human errors and to save time by keeping the most available flexibility to enable strategic positioning. Since July 2020, we are live with this process, and so far this process has been very stable, and we are more than happy actually to save all this time to have it for other projects that we can use it for. I hope this gave you a good overview, and happy to discuss this topic with you further and for your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dominika. Are there any questions at this time from anyone of the attendees? Okay, while we wait for questions, if any, perhaps Dominika, you can maybe tell us a little bit of your personal experience with EMS. What it is that you kind of found was easier than expected, or perhaps a difficult part to get through once you were going through the setup and choosing the kind of rules you needed for your workflow?
Well, let me start maybe with the difficult part. So the difficult part was actually to find the best way and the best approach for us, what we want to set up as rules. So what are the instruments that we allow also for automated trading? What is the right timing to give for like sending the deals one after the other and giving the time for pricing from banking side? There were some discussions around this, and it needed some time actually to find out, so what limits do we want to set? What is the best approach? How big in volume size, and what are the maturities to set in this? But now looking on the positive side, it's really, so when we needed like the time saving component of this is really amazing. And we are happy to have this in place. And also, so we have this four-eye principle for our audit to check this, but it's still so efficient and so fast. And to be honest, I was amazed to see that it works so good. So we are not facing, we had, I think once or twice, we had some issues just because of some system downtimes from our side or something. But other than this, it was fine. And even if you see, so when you have the deal, you see in which step it is in the TPI cloud solution. And if it's not executed, you can go manually into 360T and press manually and have this like this resending process by yourself. So you're not dependent on someone.
Okay, I have a question here from somebody asking, do you plan to review your hedging strategy on a regular basis? And I can add to that, not just the hedging strategy, also the kind of rules you have set up for the automatic process.
Yes, we are doing this. And it will be as well as we grow, as we have maybe different markets coming in and different approaches also internally with our entities and business units, we will review this and maybe change setups and therefore also rules.
Okay. And you mentioned in terms of the questions that, or in terms of the issues that you had, one of the most noted one would be the timing as to how fast the trades were being approved and auto-executed. So this is the kind of feedback you got from the bank, that it was too fast in the beginning with respect to what they can manage for getting out of the squaring position and getting out of the hedge. So in the meantime, you have adjusted this as well, and the banks are happy with the timing you have in between your requests.
Yeah, and
yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, so yes, and also setting up the parameters. Of course, you need to follow some specific rules how to define it in the EMS system. But basically, we had a great support from your side, from 360T, in instructing us what would be the best way and how to set this up and to define it.
Okay. So I have a couple of more questions here for you. They are related to the exposure management, and I have a question as well from Sebastian Fösel asking, can you imagine to switch off the workflow in SAP so it automatically hedges booking exposure once they are visible? So no 4i principle, that it is basically automated in a way where the exposures are booked, sent, traded, and there's no other overview.
So on the one hand, yes, I would love to do this because then we are not using time for this. But on the other hand, the volumes are high. So once it's done, or if there is a mistake that no one is monitoring, it's out. You have an obligation externally to banks. You have it booked in your system. And even if you notice after it that there is an issue, you need the manual effort to really go back and to unwind it, or to have maybe a counterparty forward to it or something. It's just too high. And also for audit reason, currently I don't see that. For audit reason, internally actually we can leave out this at all, having like some people monitoring it or looking into it.
Yeah. And another question is, can you tell us a little bit more about the exposure calculation? How are you getting the data for the exposure? And yes, we just went through whether you're considering automatic hedge proposals.
So currently the exposure management, so we have of course a forecast of exposure from our business units that we take into consideration, and then we are having layered hedging approach, and we hedge of this expected exposure 80%, and this is being aligned with controlling and the business units. Yeah, and I don't see there currently a change. With the only thing that we want to, or we are working on, is to implement now having liquidity planning directly from the business units within SAP, and having this in the system, so we don't have to do a manual upload from Excel to it.
Perhaps Arif, for you a little bit, you have mentioned in your part Google and a few others. What is it that you notice in your conversation with the clients in terms of this willingness to automate hedge requests, to automate trading? Because from what I've noticed is that there's for some slight discomfort when it comes to imagining at all having these kinds of things automated, where you're not being the one who is managing it just out of fear that a trade will be double booked or a wrong ticket will go through.
Yeah, I think when we started to develop the trading platform integration, we started, of course, to build up the foundation by offering inbound service. Meaning, I am trading somewhere, I would like to have end-to-end, back-to-back replication of those deals in SAP. And then the important one was, do we have a fulfillment profile? Do I things what I enter 360T are reflected in S4HANA's example? Do I have a view on competitive bids? Is the deal what I do with the word certain bank is really justify the cost, because it may be the bank offer me a better rate, but I do have a wallet size with a different bank. All this visibility, we started to do that. And during the time, the customer, they started to approach us and say, guys, but we would love to have the trader have a cockpit where oversee all requests from all the business. I mean, we're talking about, as Domenica said, we're talking about not only the forecasted exposure, we're talking about cash flow. A cash manager could request something. I do have a money I would like to invest overnight because something I would like to do it now, or many market funds, by the way. Yeah. So requests become more and more requested, more demand to integrate not only the inbound but as well the outbound. That's we see there's many clients that started to do that. And the other side, the benefit for the trading platform integration and automation, if we think about intercompany dealing, all this mirroring of the deal. I know with 360T we have the ITEX, but the client would like to have the mirroring of the deal in their system because the obligation of the accounting is still in S4. So that's back to your question. Yes, we see the demand not only for the inbound, but we see the demand for the sending a request, but not only for the foreign exchange, but rather than for money market as well for money market funds. That is the trend what we see more and more from all clients. Google, they make the decision to switch from Oracle to SAP, but they started with the treasury, the good news, and then just recently they switched the accounting to SAP. So we were supporting even Oracle accounting for some period of time, but now they realize only if you have automated way, only have end-to-end process, end-to-end solution, you can gain efficiency. And that's why outbound will become a more and more, because they would like to have the one-to-one relation between a cash manager, a risk manager send a request, and the trader who will have the view. And then especially in merger and acquisition, the trader can decide to split all this deal. I know we can do it 360T, but the reflection in the accounting obey us just to have the splitting maybe, and then I would like to go to the market only for the partially on those big deal merger and acquisition. All this flexibility become obvious if we provided outbound service, which is a hedge request.
Maybe just for kind of to wrap it up, Domenica, would you say it's been a year now that you are using EMS and the automated workflow that you have with S4HANA and us? Overall, do you see it as having added real value to your process overall and to your team? And do you see it having impacted in any way your banking relationships?
Well, through the topics that we discussed with our banking partners in the beginning to set it up, actually, we got even closer to them to discuss this process and being on one level, being transparent and discussing it with it. So even if we had some alignments that was needed, it was still a very open process, so that was positive. And in terms of the process, how we deal with it and the time that we are saving, not on things that are actually like clicking manually on things, but it's being executed by your rules that you set up. It's just saving time that you don't need to waste, or sorry for saying waste, but like waste on topics that you can eliminate.
Great.
So we are very happy with this.
Always good to hear. So thank you both. Thank you very much, Domenica. Thank you, Arif, and thank you to everyone who has joined us today. It is a new kind of finance symposium for all of us. I sincerely hope that next year I'll be looking at your faces while I'm speaking and not this tiny camera in front of me. And then we'll be back to the normal course of things. In the meantime, feel free to reach out to me, to my colleagues. Feel free to have a look at the library or join the next workshop with Christian Pfannkuchen, which starts at 14:45. Or reach out to me for a customized EMS demo if you are interested. Stay safe, everyone, and see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.